Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Reliable Source.
I'm Kirsty.
And I'm Jonelle, and we're journalists at BBC News. That's the biggest newsroom in Europe.
Day in, day out, we are working on all the stories. We're covering them for BBC News TikTok account. We're across everything. And the stories that we are most obsessed with, we're bringing to you every Wednesday with sauce, with drama, with juice. We're giving you the lowdown.
And this week, we've got some big ones to dissect. Gypsy Rose, what is she up to? What's she up to now? And how are the people reacting to her?
And also, why is everyone so obsessed with Stanley Cups? Where did this craze come from?
This is Reliable Source. You're getting it. The news for you. Woo, we're here.
We're back.
Reliable Source.
We're back,
2024,
we're back.
2K24. 2K24.
Season 2 as well.
Season 2. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new here, hello. If you've returned, hey. I know
Thank
some
you
of us.
so much.
Listen, there was a couple of comments on the BBC News TikTok, like, I saw people sending me the chili, saying, hey, when's it coming back?
Yeah, I saw that.
So we know you've been waiting, but we're here. We're finally here for you. Let's get right into it. Let's get into it. Come on, guys. Did you see what that actor, Andrew Scott, has said?
He said a lot of things. He's been all over my feed at the moment.
Yeah, he has.
He's doing a film with Paul Mescal, right? And every clip of their press run is just my whole entire TikTok feed. But which clip do you mean?
So if you guys don't know him, he's an Irish actor, and he's the one that people call the hot priest from Fleabag.
Yeah.
And he's got a new movie coming out soon called All of Us Strangers. So he's, quite big at the moment. And he's been talking about people having to declare if they're openly gay or whether or not that's okay. And here's what he had to kind of say about it.
It's an expression that we actually only ever hear in the media. You are never at a party and you say, this is my openly gay friend. Why do we put openly in front of that adjective? We don't say you're openly Irish. You don't say you're openly left-handed. There's something that's in it that's a little near shamelessly.
So to talk all about this, we've got a special guest in the studio. We've got Chris Murphy.
Woo!
You might know him. He's on TikTok and his name is That Irish Gay. Hello and welcome, Chris. What's good?
Tell us what you do.
Well, I'm the resident gay here, I guess. I do the kind of gay skits and like comedy, I guess. Well, I would think it's funny. And yeah, just weird TikTok videos, I guess.
Nice.
So what's your initial thoughts when you kind of heard him say that?
I mean, yeah, I mean, if Andrew Scott says it, it's Bible, you know what I mean? As the hot priest as well, I think it is Bible, but...
Did you watch him in Fleabag?
I did watch him in Fleabag, and I loved him in Fleabag.
He is a hot priest.
Yeah, and it keeps coming back, as we said already, it keeps coming back on our feed. But yeah, it's such an interesting conversation, because I feel like it's quite personal to the person, and I feel like for his entire career, obviously he's been around for ages before the hot priest, it's probably been the intro of this gay actor, openly gay, and as he says in the interview, like, you don't say you're openly Irish or openly gay, and like, I guess I kind of do because my name is The Irish Gay, but I'm fine with that, and I think that's cool. But like, I think if he wants to take that openly gay away, I guess it makes sense, because he said it feels a little bit shameful,
right?
Which I totally appreciate, and I think that maybe you don't introduce someone. What did he say in the clip? You don't introduce someone in a party as, this is my openly gay friend, or this is my openly. It's a very media specific thing, and maybe it doesn't have a place anymore.
But do you think that previously was it helpful that some people were like coming out and saying, I am openly gay, but like now it's kind of something that's kind of expired?
Yeah, I feel like that's the flip side of it, isn't it? The representation side of it, where it's like, it's good to see that as well. Like me growing up as well, like I probably didn't see a massive amount of people saying that they were gay or openly gay or any type of gay. So I think it is important for representation. Do we need it in 2024? Is it a bit dated? Is it a bit expired, as you said? I don't know. I think I have like a very comfy seat on the fence on this one, because I can see both sides of it, and I think there's merit to saying openly gay and having that conversation and having that representation, but there's also the connotation that it's something not to be shameful about, I guess, and probably not really necessary, and to respect like him as an actor, and his accolade is that he's an actor. And I feel like for like a lot of people, like you wouldn't say I don't know, I'm a gay journalist or something. You would just say I'm a journalist, it wouldn't be the prefix of your sexuality. And I think that's something that maybe he's trying to get away from as well, because I feel like that does follow him everywhere he goes, and it's always like, because I think even when the hot priest thing came out, it was like, oh, he's gay.
But what I found kind of like interesting in like Saltburn, which is like a big film right now, like the character Oliver, does he have a crush on Felix? That's kind of like the initial thought you kind of have. But then he seems kind of like, his sexuality seems a bit more ambiguous. Do you quite like that? He never like ever really did talk about his sexuality. It was never part of the plot. We don't need to declare his sexuality.
I'm going to be really honest here. I haven't seen Saltburn. I know I'm probably the only person left on the planet.
How have you gone without seeing it this long?
I just, when everyone's talking about it, I'm like, I don't
You're one of those people, you have
I need
to, like,
to
reject
discover
it.
it myself.
Right,
Do you know what I mean?
I actually love that.
So
That's me for like Game of Thrones. I was like Game of Thrones. Like,
Yeah, like
I don't really think I'm gonna watch that.
above Game of Thrones actually, but then I'll lean into it and I'll love it if I discover
You'll
it myself.
probably enjoy it in like 5 months' time, and you'll be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh my god, guys!"
Yeah.
Have you heard?
Like, yeah, we know.
Because obviously it's taken over the planet, and obviously talking about TikTok, like it's brought all those songs back from the
Yeah.
dead. So that's really interesting. Better on the Dance Floor. Sophie Alice Bechtel is coming.
2 nights ago, I was in a gay club actually in London, and
An
Murder on
openly
the
gay
Dance
club?
Floor, an openly gay club. Murder on the Dance Floor came on, guys. Like actually, everyone lost their heads. It was
They will.
went off in there.
It's
It was
such
crazy.
a perfect song.
It was just
regardless
like
of the movie.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
the movie's resurgence of it,
Brought it
it
back
just was
in.
like wow. But I do think that's really like it's interesting how sometimes in this day and age, like you don't have to answer, and that's kind of I guess what Andrew Scott is saying is like you don't owe people coming out in the first place, but also openly. Like you said, it just sounds as if you should be closed about it, but you're choosing to be open. It's like you should, or there's some indication that like you have something to hide, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you think some people use this term to make it clear that they're not outing someone? Because we've seen some issues, like Billie Eilish, for example, said that she was outed by a magazine.
Yeah.
And I think the magazine said it was a genuine mistake on their part.
Yeah.
But is it like a way to be like, they're openly gay, like I'm not?
Yeah, like to not take
Wasn't
ownership
me.
of it. Like, I didn't say it. Yeah, it's such a complex issue. I think maybe we've outgrown it, and I think that like people's sexuality is not their personality. I think that's what Andrew Scott is trying to say.
Yeah.
So what do you think we should do? What do you think should be?
I think everyone should change their name to that Irish gay or that nationality, sexuality,
Tell us up front,
everything. I want to know what I'm working with before I press follow. No, I think like maybe we just need to be a bit more open to like discovering people as people, and then everything else that follows them is after, and what they want to share they'll share, and what they don't want to share they won't share. And if they get talked into a corner like Billie Eilish, maybe we need to respect that, and maybe they needed to reevaluate what way they were recovering that story and see whether they were outing her or not. And like, it's the journalistic integrity, as you guys know.
Okay, Chris, thanks so much for coming on Reliable Source.
Loved
What a pleasure
having
to
you
have
here.
you.
Thanks so much for having me. I love saucy news stories.
Oh my God.
Don't we all?
If you're looking for your next podcast obsession, we think you might like Murder They Wrote with Laura Whitmore and Ian Sterling.
You can hear some of the wildest, jaw-dropping crime stories on BBC Sounds. Anyways, where were we? So what's on your For You page at the moment?
I keep seeing this like weird trend where people are basically like saying, "Oh, I'm a podcast host. Of course I talk into mics all day. Oh, I'm a podcast host." Like,
I've seen
do you know
that.
that one where they're walking down the road and like it's so
Yeah.
funny? That's like my main one that I'm seeing recently.
Yeah, my whole entire feed is Gypsy Rose Blanchard. You've seen this, you know this story, right?
Yeah, we actually did a clip about her and I edited it up
For BBC News.
for BBC News
Yeah.
TikTok. Yeah, our
So
presenter, Cash,
the
did.
story happened like end of December. She was released from prison. That's why everyone started talking about her. And she'd been in prison for basically facilitating the murder of her mum. So her ex-boyfriend actually killed her mum in the end, but she went to prison and then she was let out just at the end of 2023. And since then, she has literally gone viral. So viral, pretty much become a celebrity. I just think this is so interesting. I've seen some crazy videos on TikTok about it.
It's so interesting though because like I've seen that there's been like shows made about her life.
Yeah.
So there's like dramas, and then I've watched one of them, and I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I didn't know it was something that's still going on right now. I didn't know these people were like still like
in prison.
In prison, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So when she was growing up, her mum had Munchausen syndrome, which is basically where parents can sometimes basically pretend that their children are ill when they're not. And it's kind of like a mental health problem. And her mum had this and was telling people that Gypsy Rose was really ill. She made her have loads of surgeries she didn't need. She told people she had leukemia. She was really unwell. And like Gypsy Rose ended up having loads of surgeries and actually becoming unwell because she was having all these unnecessary surgeries and operations. So eventually she kind of realised she's not actually unwell, and like some of these things that her mum said were wrong with her weren't wrong with her. She met a boyfriend online in 2015 called Nicholas Godejohn, and between the two of them they plotted to kill her mum, Dee Dee. So he travelled from Wisconsin with a knife bought by Gypsy Rose and stabbed Dee Dee to death, and he is now doing life without parole in prison. And Gypsy Rose, she basically posted on Facebook afterwards pretty much admitting the killing, and she got sentenced for second-degree murder, and he is in prison for life. So that was the story. But while she was in prison, her story got so famous. The whole of America was like aware of this story, even so much so that they made like shows and documentaries and films about it. There was one with Joey King, who's Jacob Elordi's ex, playing Gypsy Rose.
I watched that one.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it and thinking, gosh, this is weird. I didn't even know it was a true life story. It was so weird.
So she was playing Gypsy Rose because this case was just so famous that like it was just getting dramatized. There was documentaries about it. There was so much. She did interviews from prison because everyone was like just really desperate to know like what she had to say about it. So it's really, really famous. But since she's left prison, she's just got so much more famous.
I just want to send a quick video to thank everyone for the massive amount of support that I've been getting on social media. Everyone has been really, really nice and supportive, and I really appreciate that.
But she's been posting everywhere. She did outfits of the day. She's been posting, hey, get ready with me kind of thing. She's nearly got 10 million followers on TikTok and Instagram. So I think she's got about 9 million on TikTok and 8 million on Instagram. More than that, actually. So it's just crazy to think because, like, what does this say? What does this say about anything? Because it was like almost like a true crime obsession. We love true crime. Everyone loves true crime. The whole of the US was like obsessed by this case in a weird kind of like fascinated by it way. But then when the person at the heart of the case is still here in this day and age of like technology, they kind of become a celebrity.
It is quite interesting to kind of see how someone that, you know, was an accomplice to a murder is now being followed and kind of like glorified the same way as a celebrity that probably would do something that benefits society would do.
Yeah.
It's interesting to kind of see people's reactions, and I know there was a clip of Gypsy and she's talking on The View, which is an American talk show. It's a little bit like Loose Women here in the UK, and one of the women was saying, you know, Gypsy, you're so brave, you haven't done anything wrong, and she was like, yes I have. It's like people kind of forget that she was involved in a murder, and I think even at that time the interviewer forgot she was involved in a murder, she was an accomplice in a murder, and then the other women were like, yes, she has done something wrong. Yeah, we need to make that very clear.
She says herself in that clip, murder is wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually have that clip now, so we'll play it for you.
If there is someone out there watching right now, please listen to me, heed my words, that you are not alone in this, you know, situation. There are other ways out. I did it the wrong way.
No.
You know.
Don't say that.
But I did.
You had no
I
choice,
did
really.
something wrong, and I paid my dues for it.
Oh, you mean that part?
Yes, the part of it,
yeah.
you know, that part of it. Yeah.
Where are you going with this?
No. You know, so I did something.
Murder is wrong,
Yes,
Joy.
murder is wrong.
I think this is another level of like, it's not like she's gone down in history as this like villain. It's like she's literally alive. She's on TikTok making TikToks, and we're literally giving like money. She's getting money. She's got nearly 10 million followers on TikTok. She will be getting money from pretty much having killed her mum and then made a career off it. It's just interesting how it comes across, and whether we've crossed a weird line of like making people famous who like what have done terrible things.
She's being a content creator. Now she's known. Now she's famous. But it's kind of like she has the right, like anybody else now as a free woman, to make, you know, Get Ready With Me's. Why can't she make Get Ready With Me's?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is like the parasocial relationship. I think because of those series and documentaries and films about her, people feel like they know her, so that's why everyone's writing her letters in prison. They feel like they actually know her. So now she's got such a platform of people that want anything she's going to give them. I just find it so bizarre to see like a red carpet interview with like someone who went to prison for second-degree murder. It's just we're treating them as if they're like, you know, little vox pop on the red carpet. It just is so bizarre. But
it has become into this, you know, new it girl, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Like,
yeah, it's a very strange thing, but we'll follow it. We'll keep you up to date on Reliable Source if there's any updates on Gypsy Rose. It's January. It's a time to reset. It's a time to clear the head, decide what is in and out for the year ahead.
New year, new me.
New year, new me.
New year, new me.
What are your ins and outs?
A big in for me will be being active, more swimming, more running, cheeky bit of dancing. Shake those hips, keep them moving. That's in for me. Another in for me is reading. I'm on my 3rd book of the year. I'm doing 2 at a time. One fun one informative one, and you get all the knowledge into the brain.
Wow,
that's
intense.
going in. What about you?
My ins, napping at work on my lunch break. So in for 2024. Boost you up for the next part of the day. Having a little mooch about, having a wander, having a stroll with no end destination, just mooching and enjoying the sights. So in. I'm going to mooch all the way through 2024. And gossiping. I love to gossip, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I don't want to be nasty, but I just love to be in people's business. If anyone has gossip, hand it over. I want it. And I'll provide more gossip as well.
And any outs? What are your outs?
Guys, this is more of a prediction than anything, because I did do one 3 days ago. I think photo dumps are out. I think they're too stressful. There's too much. You can't find 10 good pictures. You end up filling with some picture of the sky. No one cares about your sky. Just stop. If you have a good picture, just post it on Instagram. I'm talking to myself here because I literally did photo dump 3 days ago. But I think they're gone. I think they're over. They're so last year.
I'm just going to stop buying things I don't need. That's my only out. Stop buying things you don't need. Stop going on Instagram and seeing something on the feed and then someone's like, oh, you should buy this. I'm like, okay.
Don't have to tell me twice.
Like a purchase zombie on the app. Like, yep. And then getting it through the mail.
Yeah,
Not today.
you are a shopaholic.
So all this unnecessary spending is out for me completely.
Done.
But for many others, the thirst is real, especially for these Stanley cups. People are eating those up. People love these cups. And it's not the first time people have been obsessed with these emotional support water bottles. There's been the chili cup. There's been the Love Island water bottle. Everybody
true.
wanted one with their name on it. Everyone was eating that up. But now it is the Stanley cup. People are moving a little bit different.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to say crazy, but the camping outside of supermarkets in America, people were running as soon as it opened. They were running through the shop just to get their hands on there. There's been videos all over TikTok where people have been gifting their family members for Christmas, over Christmas, Stanley cups. And
I saw a girl that had she had the cup on like a crossbody bag. She had like a holder for the cups so they could be with her at all times.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's so special about
Emotional support water bottles. It's also being part of a community when you buy these cups. Like that Love Island cup.
It's giving cult.
Yeah.
For me.
But fashion and items, they've always been cult-like. The Stanley Cup is not a new cup, by the way. It's over 100 years old. I think it was made in 1913. So it's an old cup.
Right.
It was made mostly for manual labour people during the war. Like it genuinely wasn't a cup that you'd see young girls in particular running to get this cup. It wasn't that vibe. It was completely changed because the marketing lead at Crocs, he's now Stanley's president. So he's in charge. Yeah, he's been involved in making Stanley, this old brand that was used for, manufacturers and people that worked in lots of manual labor, and moving it to, the young kids, Gen Zs and millennials running around, camping and doing crazy stuff for a water bottle.
Crazies are so interesting because they do come and go. Like something you could look at one week and think is ugly, then the next week you're like, actually, I kind of like it. So Stanley cups, they've always been around. So how did they suddenly become so much bigger? Is it TikTok? Because I do feel like TikTok was a big part of their craze.
Well, it first went viral, like properly viral. And when I say properly viral, this is insane levels of engagement because this woman called Danielle posted a video of her car basically had just blown up. And the only thing that was still not burnt into crisp was her Stanley cup. And she shook it, which basically indicated that the ice in the Stanley cup was still in there.
After her car exploded.
After her car exploded. And that video is on 94.8 million views. That's
crazy.
Insane. That is a huge amount of views on one video. So that's kind of what pushed Stanley into the limelight. Yeah. We haven't had an emotional support water bottle since, for a while now. We had the chili. I've got a dupe of a chili, right? But so we know that the Stanley Cup can survive a fire, but many people that have them have been complaining. They've said that it spills, and they're really annoyed about that.
The water like spills out of the cup.
Yeah, so if the cup just kind of falls down, the water just pours out.
So what are you paying £45 for?
Well, I spoke to Stanley today. I said, Stanley.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Stanley.
Mr. Stanley.
What do you say about these allegations? And this is what Stanley said to me. Stanley said, the Stanley Adventure Quencher, that's what the cup's called.
That's quite good.
Is not leak/spill proof. It has a silicone seal around the straw base designed to help prevent spills, but the lid is not designed to be 100% leak proof, but help prevent spills and splashes.
So they're basically saying, it could leak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The thing that they promise is to keep your hot drinks hot and your cold drinks cold,
right.
Which they seem to be doing, but some people are a little bit annoyed. And actually, TikToker Madeline Archie, she's got an alternative for those that don't want to splash out 44 plus quid. She's actually showed off this old thing that you could probably get for a £5.
This is just so much more convenient and so much more soothing. I'm not ashamed to lead this movement. This is something I will stand.
Do you think this obsession is over? Do you think we've reached the peak of the Stanley obsession?
I am not sure about the peak of the Stanley obsession, but it's not the only obsession. There's been an obsession earlier, last year with Prime energy drinks. There was Uggs, that came back.
Yeah.
We've had the Telfer bag.
I get the same products advertised to me all the time for the TikTok shop, and it gets to the point where I'm like, maybe I should just buy it, but I'm like, I don't even want it. I've just seen it so many times in this exact same format, and it's so easy to just click buy on that TikTok shop that like they kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
It really does. And I spoke to a consumer analyst earlier today, and she said that 86% of Gen Z social media users say that social media affects and influences their fashion choices.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
I literally, because you just see people's outfits all day, you see these trends all day, and then you eventually just like, I'll just do it as well then.
I actually went out
escape it.
to find one of these Stanley Cups, and this is basically how it went. I'm on the hunt to find a Stanley Cup. Let's see if they're in here. I'm in the shop that many of you guys would call the Queen of the Dupes. So let's see. Not quite. Resemble a Stanley. This is not a Stanley. Can't find one.
So you didn't manage to find one then?
No, I didn't find one. But I did see a lot of dupes. It's quite hard to afford these products to be part of this group. But sometimes people just don't mind not having the actual brand. They're okay with having some fake ones. So we're not really sure about what's going to happen with this particular trend with the Stanley Cups, but pretty sure another product's going to come. Everyone's going to go crazy for it.
That's the thing. It all happens in cycles.
It cycles.
There'll be something else in a few weeks' time.
It's a cyclical world we live in.
It really is.
Consumers, we take the bait and we run with it.
Okay, thanks for watching this week's Reliable Source. We are obviously going to be back next Wednesday. We'll be back every week for the next few months.
Remember to tap subscribe so you don't miss an episode.
And you can find us anywhere, BBC Sounds, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, literally wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. Subscribe, rate, like, comment, share, send to a friend.
Get in touch with us anytime. Don't be shy. We're at reliablesource@bbc.co.uk, and you can drop us a comment on BBC Sounds and at BBC News.
So guys, until next time, always get your news from a reliable source.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Remember, you can find the podcast Murder They Wrote with Laura Whitmore and Ian Sterling on BBC Sounds.
For murder, mayhem, blackmail and more, make sure that you subscribe to the BBC Sounds YouTube channel.